Hey, what's going on, guys? We have officially got every single Gen Con top 16 deck list, so we're going to be diving into these. Funny enough, the last missing deck list turned out to be somebody from my local scene. Shout out to the homie Zhanax. I've seen him at some like rare battles and stuff recently, so it was pretty funny to see him in the top 16, and his was the final deck list. So I reached out to him, got the deck list from him. Turns out he was not actually running a blue Mustang deck. He was actually running a purple Squad Zero deck. So we do have one more Squad Zero than we actually thought initially. So there was almost like a 50-50 split between the two in the top 16. But yeah, real quick, also wanted to give a massive shout out to Pro DM Joey, the one putting all these deck lists together. I'll have a link to his YouTube channel in the description. And on top of that, he's actually been doing interviews with the top 16s, which have been very, very interesting to watch, listening to them break down their decks. He's got some really interesting, very insightful questions, and it's really entertaining and really fun to watch, so definitely check it out. If you guys haven't seen, I highly recommend those videos. But yeah, again, shout out to Pro DM Joey for putting all this together. But yeah, diving into the top 16 deck list here, if you didn't see, it was a pretty good range of Mustangs and purple bleach. Now, quick shout out to second place Jane for actually not running Squad Zero, but running Renji Rush. So really cool to see. Most of the other, if not all the other purple bleach, were mostly Squad Zero. And then we did have, obviously, a lot of blue Mustangs that made it to the top 16. We had a yellow Saitama deck, so that was awesome to see. I expected at least one to slip through. This deck can be so strong. And then we had a blue JJK deck, a Red Codegeass deck, which is very interesting to see. I believe this deck was running no finals, which is crazy, but it could definitely work. And then a green bleach deck. So yeah, we're going to start diving into these. And real quick, if you did see the last video I uploaded about the Gen Con deck list, there was only like half of them up at the time because I did it like instantly. And they were still getting filled in, which they did get filled in very quick, which is awesome to see. But regardless, if you did want to skip ahead to other decks that you might have seen already, I will have timestamps below. So taking a look at the first place deck here, shout out to Somethingfresh with the Roy Mustang deck. Biggest standouts here is the fact that he was going with the, in my world, the standard 11 zeros, 4 1s, just 2 3s, and then a nice solid 8 3s here, especially because they're both double energy generators. And then he went with the 4 Roy Mustangs, which is awesome. Again, you could rate on the top of this guy, and he's a 4K body, so much value. 2 Edwards, which I wouldn't have done, so shout out to him for doing that. Again, the 4K bodies came in clutch, I'm sure. And then the Military's in Trouble, and the Finals and Specials here. And then second place, Jane actually got a dub with the Renji Rush deck 2.0. You know, we've got some Volume 2 cards in here, like this Renji card. Looks like she threw in some Oetsus, which is really interesting, mostly for the double energy, I'm assuming. 4 of these Ichigos, obviously. Again, it's Renji Rush, so you're just trying to get your double energy up as soon as possible. Oh, okay, I see. We're swapped out like the Keyscapes for the Oetsus, I see. Oh, and then went with 8 1s. That's kind of crazy. 8 1s, 12 zeros. So yeah, consistent, pretty solid start with 0s and 1s and even 2s and 3s, and then you're just slamming 4K bodies on the board. I believe she had some really strong damage 2 turns from what she was talking about. Again, definitely go check out those interviews, the deck profiles from their point of view. Those are so interesting to watch. And then, yeah, let's see. Only 3 of the starter deck Ichigos, 3 of the Squad Zero Ichigos, which, again, you're putting cards into your removal, so I could definitely see this card coming online, which is so crazy. Right on top of him later if you need, and then 4 of this guy, of course. And then 8 total here for Finals and Specials. Yeah, Renji Rush is still a crazy deck that can definitely get second place at Gen Con. That's so crazy. I don't doubt it. The damage 2s, the 4K bodies, it's pressure. And then third place, Floytlesangen, I believe, with the blue Mustang deck. Let's see here. Looks like we've got the 11 zeros. Yeah, this guy went with the 3 Black Hayates instead, which is pretty interesting. Again, you get to search out your Riza Hawkeyes, so it could be good. But it would be unfortunate to, like, bottom deck Finals and Specials off this card. But, again, you get those Raid Rizas faster, then you're getting to your Roys faster. I could see it. I see the vision for sure. 5 1s here total. You're usually going to see both of these guys in every deck. Only 2 of the 2-cost Roy Mustangs. I expected to see a lot more of this guy in most of the decks just because I really like his one-plate ability into the raid. But again, I guess it's not super reliable, right? Especially without a trigger. Alex Lewis Armstrong, on the other hand, with the active trigger here. Pretty interesting to see. The 2-cost. Only 2 of them, though, but yeah, if he ends up in life, could be clutch. And then that's where we start to see the difference here. We only have 2 of the 4-cost Roy Mustangs, but we do still have the Edwards as well, and 2 of the Military's in Trouble. So, yeah, basically just cutting down a little bit on the 4s. Again, probably just for more early game consistency, hoping to not brick, which I definitely can see. Triggers are still there on this Roy, so, man, again, I totally see the vision. You drop 2 of these, basically, drop 1 1, 1 2, and then throw in 2 of this guy. You have extra 4K bodies. It's crazy, but it is just slightly riskier, right? Just slightly. Also, the Alex Lewis Armstrong is a when-played draw trash, so definitely not a terrible ability at all. And then in 4th place, we got Alex with another Roy Mustang deck here. Let's see, we've got 11 zeros again. We've got 7 ones in this deck, which is really cool to see. Just keeping it consistent. You know, we don't need all the zeros in the world, but these ones are very strong, so having a lot of them is not a bad idea. 4 of the 2-cost Roys, which is what I probably would have went for. 8 for your double energy generators total, and then pretty standard across the board. Now, something that's not standard actually is no militaries in trouble. Again, I guess bodies are more important than anything. You do have effects on a lot of these cards, so cutting the event card to draw. I mean, listen, it's a great event card. I could never cut it. I couldn't come to it. I couldn't do it. But I can see the justification of it for bodies, for raid targets. Again, these abilities aren't bad. The trade out, you're not just swapping them for useless cards by any means. But yeah, that military's in trouble. Getting a free draw 2, maybe even a draw 3 in some instances, could be a crazy card. And then we've got Taylor here with a squad 0 deck in 5th place. Let's see here. We've got 12 zeros. We got the 5 ones. Oh, and then this is interesting. One of the color Ichigos. I've seen a little bit of this actually. One of the color Ichigos, 3 of the Ichibes. I would have assumed Ichibe is like a 4 of, because this guy's just crazy in Squad 0. But again, if you're going for like a hybrid build, I can definitely see it. Because yeah, we've got also 2 of the double energy gens here. We've got 1 starter deck Ichigo and 3 of this Ichigo. Again, I haven't played enough Squad 0 to tell you what the normal build is, but I'm pretty sure this guy's pretty standard, and even just one of him isn't super uncommon at all. And then of course 4 of the Royal Palace, 4 specials and finals, 4 of your Senjimarus. Yeah, definitely a squad 0 deck for sure, but you can definitely see the splash of the Ichigo hybrid. And then 6th place, Siggy with the Mustang deck. Looks like he also went with some Black Hiates. Oh, he actually went with a 10-0 deck. Man, see, anytime I try to go to 10 zeros, I regret it every single time. Because if you don't get to 0, you can't play the game. It's very simple. Oh, man. But he got... he got 6th place with it, so 10 zeros. Now, again, the less zeros can be justified once you're at 6 ones like this, so I can definitely see that. But yeah, outside of that, that's crazy. I do like that he also went with the Alex Lewis Armstrongs. Listen, this 45 printed BP, the damage to pressure, extra draw power if your opponent's blocking him. He's got a lot in his package for 2 action points, so I personally really like having 2 of him in this deck. But again, there's a lot of good options. There's a lot of good options for the big bodies. But yeah, very similar build to what I would have gone for, except I think the biggest difference, I would have just gone for 11 zeros total and probably like the draw trash instead of this guy. Maybe like less ones, but still, I mean, this makes sense definitely. And he got away with it. It works. It works. You just gotta see a 0 to play. And then we have one of my favorites. Shout out to Div with the Todo deck. I love seeing this deck in the top 16. Again, we've covered a few of these in the last video, but we'll definitely just dive through them again. Biggest thing that I love to see in this is that he experimented with the 3 finals. Again, I think that's so justified. I don't know in what instances exactly going down to 0 domain expansions would ever be justified. It works apparently in some cases, but I think going down to 3 totally works, especially because in my experience, even always having them in hand isn't great. The amount of times I'll have one in hand, tap to draw, grab another one. Like, see so many of them in life. Even the times they pop up as the final trigger, and it feels so bad that they've still got 3 impacts or something after that. It's never that bad, but you know, it pops up as the final trigger. You get your extra life, and then they just swing and take it anyways. Me personally, I think 3 finals is what I might start leaning towards a lot, or if I'm really not sure what to cut, just going down to 3, just because, yeah, I can see the value in it for sure. But anyways, this deck's got so many good options outside of final cards, so this is a great deck to experiment with it. He also went with Goodwill events, so if there's any time to really decide to cut down your finals, it's when you have other event cards. So yeah, the Goodwill event with the Revive, that's really nice. In his interview, I heard him talking about cutting the Miwas out, which, you know, I'm always sitting around 2, wondering if I should go up to 3, wondering if I should just drop her completely. The 2 action points, you know, yeah, it's not always the easiest to get off. I've always had those turns every once in a while where she's ready to be pushed up as the double attacker. I've got my damage 2, and it's just so much board pressure. But again, I can see cutting her. The 2 action points with Tojis or other good options in the deck. There's just other things you could lean towards for sure. But yeah, otherwise just a great deck. 12 zeros, 3 ones, 4 twos here. The standard build that I would have gone for more or less. So really awesome to see. Shout out to Div for getting 7th with my boy Todo. And then in 8th place, we've got Hank here with the Squad 0 deck. Looks like another Ichigo hybrid. Again, less Ichigo dependent, but still he went with like some of the what do you call it, the double energy generating Ichigos, which I feel like isn't super common. He actually even went with a Getsugo with one of those and 3 of the Shoutout specials. I'm so bad. I don't watch Bleach. I'm sorry. Anyways, yeah, he went with the split there. Really interesting to see. Really interesting to see. Also, the split on the color triggers as well. Again, I feel like with the Ichibei, he's super important. But I feel like this is the biggest sign, right, for the split of like the hybrid versus just going straight squad 0, because you're actually throwing in some other color triggers here. But yeah, no, this works. W squad 0. How many zeros did he go with here? Oh, that's funny. He threw in one of the add-to-hand Ichigos. I'm so curious if you ever saw that. That's all it takes is starting with it or getting it in your hand, and now you've got a raid Ichigo. That works. Yeah, there you go. Pretty awesome to see. Hybrid Bleach, Purple Bleach. Shout out to Hanke. And then right behind him, we've got Color with a Purple Bleach deck as well. Oh, even more of a hybrid. We're going down to 2 Ichibeis here. With then the 2 Ichigos. Again, if you don't know, you got to go with a max of 4 color triggers. So he chose with the split there, 2-2. 4 of the double energy and Ichigos. Okay. Only 2 of this Senjumaru. So that's kind of like the sacrifice that he made. Less raid targets. Hopefully that didn't hurt you down the line. But overall, very awesome to see. Maybe this is a deck where you might have wanted to just go like 1 Getsugo, but this special has so much value outside of just removing stuff. So keeping it at 4 is so understandable. 4 Palaces, of course. Listen, back when the game first released, I liked running Palace just to ditch stuff. I had like the 1 Tenjiro to revive stuff, but was never running this to see him. It was just for free trashes if possible. But yeah, anyways, great deck, Squad 0, Ichigo hybrid. Really cool to see. They're leaning. Clearly, this Ichigo color trigger's got some value if people are cutting Ichibeis for him, because this Ichibei card is crazy in the Squad 0 deck. He's so nuts. Let's see here. 10th place, we've got Nash with the blue Mustang deck. Let's see here. Let's see. We've got the Black Hayates again. Wow. We're seeing more decks running this card than not. Very interesting. I would have assumed the Draw Trash was the most popular one, but I mean, again, if you see the Rizas, if you're high rolling into what you need, that works. Let's see. This is another. What did we see? Another one with 7 1s. Anyway, 7 1s, Roy Mustangs and Rizas. Crazy. 3 Roy Mustangs, and then so yeah, that works. I feel like if you're gonna. Yeah, I feel like that works. If you're going to choose between 1s and 2s, go with less 2s and more 1s, because that's going to help on the less bricking. And I'm sure it just comes down to what's more important, getting draw triggers, nullify impact, all that good stuff with a less cost, or maybe getting this when played at the right time. Anyways, we got, of course, the 8 here for these 2. Going with 3 Alex Lewis Armstrongs. Bro was really trying to get him out. I'm sure he came into the games at least a few times and put in some pressure. Alex Lewis Armstrongs at 3 ofs. Again, the 2 action points is where I'm kind of restricting him to 2, but listen, if he comes out and he's ready to play, bro, your opponent might be cooked. Let's see, 2 of the 4 cost Roy Mustangs, and then again, none of the event cards of the draw Militaries in Trouble. That's interesting. I would have assumed that, like, that is the one standard. Like, if anyone asked me what, outside of the Roy raids and Riza raids and the specials and finals, what's the one card you expect to see in every single deck, hands down, 2 of? And, I mean, like, there's a lot of options for that, obviously. They're all pretty similar, but Military's in Trouble. I thought that card had a lot of value, and clearly it does. It's just in a game of bodies, I guess bodies are important, and they can put in more pressure and put in more work than event cards. So very fair, very fair. But yeah, and then moving on to Rigo here, 11th with the yellow Saitama deck. Okay, this is one I was actually really interested to see. I haven't looked at this deck yet. So he went with, okay, so he's got some bombs in there. Okay, wait, this is actually really interesting to see. I experimented with this build back during One Punch, but kind of like ended up looking into green One Punch more than I should have. But regardless, this is interesting. So he did go with the Blizzard Raids here, so that he's able to get some draw pressure as well as body pressure. Because if you don't know, in the Saitama deck, if you're just going straight Genos and stuff, you generally don't have blockers. But with the Hellish Blizzard, dude, you're able to get the event card recycling. Very cool. A card that I can't cut just because it's so iconic in this deck, and it can be annoying and fun to play. He'd cut the One Punch event card. I don't know how like popular that card is, but just straight up taking a life from your opponent. So fair enough. Again, I would have assumed maybe with Hellish Blizzard you can like spam that card a little bit. Anyways, he's got 3 of the double Genos blockers. Okay, that's interesting. So he really went heavy on the Genos raid targets, and then he went with the 1-cost Hellish Blizzards instead of the Genos 1-cost. Okay, yeah, you know what? Funny enough, Joey just uploaded the interview that I haven't seen with this deck, so I'm very excited to dive into this after this. Anyways, that's really cool to see. Awesome. I'm gonna try this deck out, man, because I like experimented with Hellish Blizzard with this, but then I just started leaning way towards more like, what is my guaranteed Saitama by turn 3? And it was like the 1-cost Geno search. Saitama's apartment, listen, I never tried, never fell in love with, but clearly it's got potential. Yeah, crazy build. This is awesome to see. I'm gonna try this out. But yeah, with this many targets, dude, I can see the Hellish Blizzards putting in work. This is cool. Yo, shout out to Rigo for getting into top 16 with this. This is freaking awesome. 11th place, Saitama. Oh, I'm gonna try this out. This is sick. And then the bombs are very interesting, just for, I guess, to make the Hellish Blizzards 4Ks if you ever need, or something. Yeah, again, I feel like I would have went with the, I don't know, what was my 0 cost in this deck? I actually don't even know. Oh, duh. Damn, he cut the king card, I just realized. I'm like, what was the 0 cost I was running? It's the king, the, like, what I thought was, like, the staple 0 of the deck. Huh, we're not seeing the value in king versus bomb? I'm fat. I can't wait to see this interview. I hope this is brought up. What? This guy's like, if you don't know, this guy restands your Saitama. He can rest one of your opponent's cards if he wants to. Like, kinda. More the restand, which is my favorite part about him as a 0. Draw trigger. Yo, you can't attack or block, so ignore the 5K. Yo, okay, I'm excited to watch this. Anyways, Rigo, congrats, dude. That's awesome. 12th place, Fabio with the blue Sukuna deck. Let's take a look at this. Again, I haven't looked at, if we didn't cover this in the last video, this is my first time looking at these, by the way, so just so you guys are aware. So I have not seen this one yet. 1 Malevolent Shrine, let's go. Malevolent Shrine made it in there. Nanamis are in this? Wait, oh, okay, so he went with the Nanami Sukuna build. But it's definitely more Sukuna dependent, right? The Nanamis are kind of just in here for the... Oh, no, he went Divergent Fish special. Wow. I would have assumed that one of the main reasons you go Nanami is so that you go Nanami special. I feel like Nanami special would have cooked in this. I mean, maybe. Either way, Divergent Fist, great special. Anyways, let's see, what do we got? We got the 11 zeros. We've got the 4 1-cost Nanamis, 4 Sukuna's Fingers. I mean, listen, this is an insane UG right here, this lineup, bro. Now you've got essentially 2 3-cost double generating UGs, dude. That's so crazy. 2 of the Makis at a 2-cost. Damn, so what's the 4 builds here? Hold up. 3 of these UGs, 4 of this Sukuna, 2 of this Nanami, and 3 of this Sukuna. Interesting. Okay, dude, this is a build I have not tried or looked into. Very interesting. Yeah, I feel like I would have went a different route with this. This is really interesting. Okay. The Nanami locking. I mean, this is like a lot of not just board pressure, but like a lot of not just locking your opponent's board, but also board removal from your opponent, right? Like this Nanami's stopping your opponent from attacking when he comes out. This Sukuna's resting and locking one of your opponent's cards for a turn. Obviously, the Yuji's the bounce back. Now, I definitely see the I could definitely see like the board pressure working in this deck against your opponent for sure. I mean, well, I guess the Nanamis aren't drawing. They're just straight up putting cards into the sideline. But if they're putting your fingers into the sideline, dude, that's all that matters, right? Very interesting build. All right, yo, shout out to Fabio for the Sukuna deck, getting 12th place. Very nice. All right, then we've got Will Murphy here with the blue Mustang deck. Let's take a look at this. And then, oh, we've got Altards in here, so we just got to pay a little attention to this. So we've got 3 of the Roy Mustangs here, 4 of the 1-cost Rizas. This is what I usually try to go for, the draw trash Fallman. 3 of the Roy Mustang. Oh no, 4 of the 2-cost Roy Mustangs. 4 of the Maze Hues. Yeah, pretty honestly, yeah, pretty similar to what we've seen throughout this. Again, the thing that's blowing my mind is still none of the what do you call it? The Military's in Trouble. The event draw 2 essentially, draw 3 sometimes. And not a ton of Edward Elrics, which is what I'm definitely going to try splashing in. But also, I don't think I was at 4 of these Roy Mustangs, which is what I'm probably going to lean towards as well now. Yeah, Roy Mustang, man, this deck is good. This deck is good. Everyone has their opinions about why Gen Con's placement is what it is. I think Roy Mustang is just removal's removal. It's a pressure deck with deck organization, draw power, removal. It's a great deck. Anyways, shout out to the local homie Zhanax, dude. I can't believe, dude. What are the odds that the last missing deck ended up being somebody from my local scene, bro? And the only reason we got it, as far as I'm aware, is because I reached out to him. Again, not everyone's on the internet, not everyone's aware or whatever, of exburst especially. So anyways, I'm glad we were able to, I'm glad it all worked out like that. Because if this was anyone else, I would have never had any idea how to reach out to the guy. So shout out to Zhanax, shout out to the Colorado homie here for getting top 16 at Gen Con, dude. That is freaking awesome, dude. Freaking awesome. We've got the purple bleach deck here. Definitely less of a hybrid. Definitely more of Squad Zero. Oh, interesting. Just 2 of this guy. 4 of the Ichibe, like I'd expect. 12 of the... Oh, no. Oh, wait. Yeah, we got a lot of zeros here. Yeah, this was interesting to see. 1 Uryu going with like 2 of the Tenjiros. You're just really mixing it up here. I guess I like the 2 Ichigos because the add-to-hand trigger, dude, is just so nice if you're waiting for just a raid Ichigo. Because you could have 4 of this guy, but if they're all in your life, dude, what are you raiding on top of? Anyways, obviously you could raid on top of these as well, which he went down to 2 of the Squad Zero Ichigos. He also went with 1 of the Getsugas, so obviously he was leaning a little bit towards like an Ichigo hybrid build here. But I like the 4 Ichibes, dude. I personally, even if I was going with like an Ichigo hybrid, I would try to go with more zeros before I start cutting this guy for the color triggers. I feel like, again, everyone has their reasons and their play styles and the things they're aiming for, but the value in this guy with Squad Zero, obviously 4 of the Palaces. But yeah, Squad Zero Ichigo. And again, this is really interesting because before this, we were at 4 Bleach, 7 Full Metal Blue. Now we're almost at a 50-50 split with that change. So cool to see. Pretty interesting. And then we've got the Red Codegeass deck, Marcelo. This one we covered in the last video, but again, just blew my mind. 0 of the final cards, so no AP restanders. I feel like just going to 0 is crazy because even if you just go to 1 or 2 and you see him at the right time, that's huge, right? Anyways, doesn't matter because he got into top 16 without him, so who needs him? It's the Red Codegeass Weenie Rush deck. We've got 4, 8, 12, 14 zeros. We've got 7 1s. Then we've got just 4 2s, but we've also got 4 of the 2-cost sight cards. Again, the deck is just like setting your cards up, set to active, rushing your opponent, board rushing. I haven't tried it out myself much or even seen it in action, but you can just kind of get the vibe of what it's aiming for here. It's got 12 3-cost cards, which is pretty crazy. Again, board presence is very important. I'm hoping Joey gets an interview put together for this one because I would love to see it. I would love to know the mindset, the brain power behind this deck. I'm going to have to try it out eventually. Codegeass is the one anime that I don't really care for that's out right now. So it's like at the bottom of my list to look into and build decks for, which this is funny enough with the breakdowns. It's like the one set I just haven't ever done breakdowns for and stuff on the channel. So with Volume 2, it's going to be interesting. Maybe I'll just dive into it and see what happens. But anyways, let's see here. Let's see. Yeah, the specials, of course, which is just your standard. If your opponent has 4 or less life, 5k. Oh, interesting. Wait, what? Hold on, I've never read this deck before. Choose 1 character with 3k or less on your opponent's front line, sideline. If your opponent has 4 or less life, is a 5k. So yeah, you're just trying to get your opponent down to lives. That's crazy, dude. Trying to get him down on lives as fast as possible. Choose up to 1 character, 3k or less, and switch to active. That's crazy. So yeah, again, as long as you've got 4 attackers, this Suzaku is always getting you a 5th attack. That's crazy, dude. In the right situations, of course. Choose a character with 3k or less on your field against 1k and impact. That's crazy. Dude, that's crazy, bro. You're just weenie rushing, chipping away, and then once your opponent's down to like 1 or 2 life, you have 1 or 2 of hers set up on the bench, and now you've got 2 4k impacts. Dude, that's dirty, bro. That's dirty. Red Codegeass. I'm gonna have to try that, bro. That's crazy. And then last but not least, shout out to Kdog, Jeong, for getting 16th place with the green Bleach deck. My personal favorite color from Bleach. I haven't seen Bleach, or I haven't seen most of Bleach. But I love Toshiro. I love his abilities. I love that he's the only character in this game with the insane freeze until the start of your opponent's next turn. So for those reasons, Kenpachi getting support and the deck getting as good as it did. I'm a fan. But anyways, yeah, the Yachirus are so gross. I like that he did go down to 3. It makes me feel better because I always wondered if this is like a must run of 4 because it's so good for endgame if you set her up. But there's definitely value outside of her, like with the Toshiro revives, the board flooding Rangikus, the new double energy generating Yumichika. And then we've got, of course, oh, he went with a 2, that's interesting. He went with a 2-2 split on the specials here. Interesting. I would have, honestly, I would have always assumed the Kenpachi was the better one since you can also pop it with her on the field. It's essentially 1 extra name in the special. But I can also see Toshiro's freeze ability being very beneficial in some situations, potentially. But don't you always want to remove stuff? I don't know. Regardless, interesting 2-2 split there. I'll have to see the breakdown for this. But yeah, this is generally why I wanted to build this deck right here, going with the 4 of each of these raids. Dude, I love this, man. The one green build that I would have went for made it into top 16. Again, so many variables. Who knows if the other ones even got played? I think Old Man Rush has a lot of potential. I think the free plays with that Yachu raid is very valuable. But man, getting this guy out with the board freeze, maybe even you remove before it, man. Who knows? He also threw in 2 of the Shinjis. That's cool to see. I'm very curious if he had value in this game or if this is a card he'd cut. Because when I first was building this deck, when Volume 2 dropped, I thought this guy stood out to me. But then I saw the price of like him and like his alt art. So I assume people just don't care about him, which is crazy. I assume he's not playable, but I would have guessed at least 2 is something to run. Because in some situations, he could be a game changer, right? He's got 2 different abilities here. And then we've got 4 of the 4-cost Kenpachi. I like this build. I'm gonna try this build out. I was kind of like, I never finalized my build with these 2 rated cards, and I was never finding the room for enough Kenpachis out of these 2. But I like this. This is like perfect. What did he do? Oh, he's got 3 3s. See, I might still give it a try. I'll have to give it a try still. And again, he's got more than enough 2 costs. That's fine, actually. He's got 1s, he's got 2s. You can cut down on the 3 costs. I think what I did is, like, when I was building this deck, I realized that I was at like 4 3s or something, and I was like, should I do that? Should I only have 4 3-cost cards? But it's so doable, and I think it's more justified when you have like a lot of 2 costs. And we've seen it in Renji Rush. If your highest cost is generally a 4 cost, honestly, don't worry too much about just worry about getting your energy generation up, right? However you're gonna do it. But yeah, very cool to see, very cool to see. Again, I feel like I would have went with the 4 Kenpachi specials total, but, you know, who knows what the mindset was behind this? Who knows what the thought process was? Alrighty, boys, and that is going to be it for the top 16 Gen Con deck lists, our first ever Union Arena NA Regionals. If you're going to any of the ones in the future, good luck. I'm very curious to see what these top 16s are going to be like, because we're going to have new IPs being introduced with every one. If you didn't know, Full Metal was the newest IP that released right before this event, so I'm very curious if we're going to see a theme. Attack on Titan, boom, takes over half of top 16, as long as they're good enough, or Codegeass Volume 2, right, because that's also dropping. And then what's going to be in the next one, I believe after that, Kenshin is going to be allowed, as well as Hunter x Hunter Volume 2. Boom, we see both of those in like the top 16. It's going to be really interesting to see, or at any point if any of them get shut down, and then who knows what happens. Were they just not played? Were they bad decks? Are people just not used to these decks? I would assume, since most of these cards are playable from the JP side, right? They're out in Japan. You can experiment with them right now before they release in the English version. I assume if you're going to Gen Con, you're probably looking into those, but there's only so much playtesting and prepping you can do, right? And of course, the NA meta is always going to be even just a little bit, if anything, different from the Japanese meta, so just keep that in mind. But apparently, Rurouni Kenshin is destroying in Japan. I've heard that from multiple sources. So, anyways, that is going to be it, boys. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Once again, massive shout out to Pro DM Joey for not just putting this tournament thing together here on exburst, but also interviewing the top 16 people, keeping up with it as well. I'm going to be watching this after this. I'm very excited. The yellow Saitama breakdown. Where were the kings? What happened to the zero cost kings? Was bombed that important? I'm so curious. He's just a 0, but his effect is huge. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Drop a like if you guys did. And once again, massive shout out to the local homie Zhanax, dude, for completing the deck list, completing the tournament list here. I can't believe, what are the odds of all that? But on top of that, showing up for Colorado. Let's freaking go, dude. I'm hoping you win it all, man. Let's freaking go. But yeah, appreciate you guys watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.